Hey there, welcome to the Uplift. We got a great show for you, a great cast of characters as well. Among them, a singer who lost his most prized possession, that would be his voice. What or who helped him regain it? We will tell you. Also, a history-making veteran who reached new heights by diving deep. And a teen who's already a successful author, and there is something even more special about what she's doing now. And who is Lady Pink? Meet the woman who has made an impact for decades in the world of art, while some called her an outlaw, others a hero. All that, plus our heartwarming videos you just need to see. You're watching The Uplift. Hey there, I'm Tony DeCopel, and this is The Uplift, the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes, you and me as well. And we're going to begin with a story about a singer who lost his most prized possession. That would be his voice, of course. But then he met someone who helped him regain it. Here's Caitlin O'Kane.
Since joining choir in high school, Albert Garcia knew his passion was singing. He sang in church, started studying opera, and performed at gigs. But in 2021, Albert temporarily lost his gift. He suffered spinal damage and needed surgery. A side effect of the procedure, his vocal cords were stretched. His old singing voice, gone.
When I got that secondary diagnosis of the vocal cord paralysis, that just hit me like a brick wall. I had felt that music was the only thing I was particularly good at. It was the one thing I've had constant in my life. So I did enter a very deep state of depression.
He worked with a physical therapist to regain his strength. Then, to regain his voice, he saw Dr. Marina Elvira Papaangelou, a speech-language pathologist at Tier Memorial Hermann. And after 12 months of therapy, he was able to thank her with a performance.
Because I knew you.
The song he chose, a meaningful one.
I have been changed for good. The song I did was For Good from Wicked. This is where they sing to each other about how important they are to each other, and that if they never meet again, that at least they know that they've been a good influence and a good change on each other's lives. It really spoke to me because it says, it well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime, so let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. Be with me like a handprint on my heart. That I feel like is the exact relationship I've had with my speech therapist, because I've just learned so much from her.
Albert also presented Marina Elvira with the lyrics to the song.
You've not only changed my life, but you've also given back what I thought I would never going to get. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for learning from me.
Albert is back performing again, and his vocal therapist, now a friend in the audience.
Win for him, win for the audiences as well. It's a beautiful story. And we're going to move on to another one, introducing you to the military's first black female deep sea diver, a diver who reached new heights, you might say, by diving to new depths. Here's Elise Preston.
Well, that would be me.
A remarkable moment in the remarkable life of Andrea Motley Crabtree.
I was happy to be there, happy to be in that suit.
Inspired by her father and grandfather, both veterans.
I always wanted to be in the military, but a lot of people didn't think the military was a good thing for women.
In 1982, she became the Army's first woman deep-sea diver, but the now retired Master Sergeant battled racism and sexism throughout her journey.
I was Army, going to a predominantly Navy environment. I'm female to a predominantly male environment. I'm black to a predominantly white environment. And this guy, he looked at me and he says, you shouldn't be here. You should be home barefoot and pregnant.
Others told her she wouldn't make it.
I stayed in Army diving and put up with everything that I put up with for one reason. I loved it. I loved diving.
A love she now shares with her 3 sons.
Right now I'm outside the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Proof her place in history now has an even bigger stage.
It's incredible. I'm almost speechless, and I do it all over again.
Immortalized. I love that. All right, coming up in just a moment, when this little dog came face to face with a coyote, what familiar face came to the rescue? We'll show you. Plus, two friends who have a 75-year friendship and a whole lot of history to share.
My name is Len Massinio.
My name is Maury Bischoff.
And I'm 97 years old, going on 98.
I'm 97, just 97.
I treat him like a child.
Our next story is about a dog who came face to face with a coyote and then the friendly face that came to the rescue. Here's CBS Los Angeles' Joy Benedict.
It was a heart-stopping puppy's plea for help, and then a tiny furry hero to the rescue.
I knew he was fearless, but I didn't understand how fearless.
As security cameras captured the moment this 10-pound Maltese mix took on a coyote.
Vinny's a superhero. He's always been a scrapper. He's just not afraid of anything.
Aaron and David Macaluso couldn't help but gush over the bravery of their dog Vinny, a scrappy rescue and fearless protector of his younger but slightly larger fur brother.
He was a rescue. When we first got him, we think he was in a puppy mill. So, he didn't know anything. We had to teach him how to play, and how not to growl.
Something that may have come in handy when the pup went into stealth mode.
It just saw a white blur coming towards it, and it said, "I'm out of here."
The attack happened a few weeks ago in the backyard of their Mission Viejo home. After walking the dogs, the Macalusos forgot to close the dog door immediately, and Harley ran out when he heard a noise. The noise was two coyotes looming by the back gate. One of them leaps through in a flash, chasing and grabbing Harley by the neck, but Vinny heard his cry.
He just chased them. I think he had a low-level growl that I think it shocked the coyote.
It does look like he jumped on him and he darted this way, and then that gave Harley an opportunity to flip over and run the other way.
At 11 years old, this Maltese doesn't have much physical fight in him, but his heart was clearly on display.
I'm looking for a doggy cape because I think he deserves one. I would give him a steak, but he has no teeth. So.
That's right, this aging pup can't even chew, nonetheless bite a coyote.
3 teeth.
That's it. Just 2 lowers and then 1 molar.
As for Harley, he had 20 stitches and a recovery that wasn't easy.
They think that he was bitten 3 or 4 times, is what the doctor said, and he had a bite on each shoulder.
But he had Vinny. And of course, his humans who are now sharing their story so others don't make the same mistake.
You hear that coyotes take, dogs off leashes and, come in people's backyards, but we've never had one in our backyard, and we've been here 30 years.
So for now, their dog door will stay closed, and they'll never underestimate the power of the spirit of this aging rescue pup who risked it all to rescue his brother and then lived to tell this doggone tale of the coyote who attacked but doesn't dare come back.
Okay, but keep that doggy door closed. Good on that dog there, saving his brother. Love it. All right, we now have some heartwarming videos. You know the ones, you gotta see them. So take a look at this one in pole position. It comes to us all the way from Brazil, and it shows 9-year-old Hader Pereira, who just won a jiu-jitsu tournament and wanted to share the spotlight with his competitors. He invited them up onto the podium with him and earned praise for that show of sportsmanship. How about that? All right, our next video shows a group of former students who came back to their Cartersville, Georgia high school to sing one last time with their former chorus teacher, Jim Stanley. He is retiring after 30 years, and about 100 students from those 3 decades showed up to send him off the best possible way they could, by singing, of course. He taught him well, it sounds like. Coming up, we're going to introduce you to a 7th grader who has already found success as an author, and she's now using that success to help others. Plus, who is New York City's infamous Lady Pink? I want to know. Some labeled her an outlaw, others called her a hero. Hey there, welcome back to the Uplift. It's time now to meet a 7th grader who's already a published author, believe it or not, and that is not even the most impressive part of her young life. Here's CBS Miami's Maribel Rodriguez with the story.
There's so many great parts here that I can hear your voice.
It sounds like a normal conversation between a teacher and student, but this is anything but.
Did you ever think oh my God, what if this ever got made into a movie?
13-year-old Lila, a 7th grader at North Broward Prep, has always loved to write.
Since I was really little, I loved to write little picture books. And my teacher helped me at a different school at the time, but I was writing a picture book called The Adventures of Super Victor.
And that's where it all began for Lila Draws, a picture book called Super Victor to now this, Carl's Side.
My book is named Carl's Side. It's about an orphan who runs away from his uncle to go looking for his parents. He ends up in a parallel fantasy type world where he meets a lot of different magical creatures who help him along his journey. Some are good, some are bad.
And her English teacher, Mr. Fishman, proudly helped her bring it to life.
Kids are amazing, that if they want to do something, they can do it. And Lila's the perfect example. She wanted to write, she wanted the story, she had to get the story out, and then, she had this book published.
Lila has already sold hundreds of books and is donating all the proceeds to an organization close to her heart.
I'm donating all of the proceeds from my book to the Literacy Coalition. So far, we've raised about $1,000 for them. It makes me feel like I have a good opportunity to teach other kids that you can also write a book no matter how old you are. And I want to inspire other young writers to do what they love.
No limits. Thank you, Maribel. Okay, back here in New York City, some called this next figure Queen of the Night. Others called her Lady Pink. Who is she and how has she shaped the art world over the past 4 decades? Here's CBS New York's Steve Overmeyer.
We are in Astoria, Queens, underneath Hell's Gate Bridge.
Some called her the Queen of the Night.
I'm just an artist.
Her name was known throughout the city, but few had seen her face. To some, she was a hero. Others labeled her an outlaw. But everyone agreed she became a force to be reckoned with and known as Lady Pink.
I grew up in this neighborhood. I lived in a private house, so I would jump out the window with my bag of paint quietly and go to the worst neighborhoods of New York City because that's where they park the trains.
The work she's doing here isn't illegal. In fact, it's a commissioned work of art.
Painting a beautiful mural with my assistants Chloe and Matt and Nikki and my husband. Graffiti or street art, with permission, can be a platform and a voice, and I've used it for activism. Now I'm doing about mental health issues and about burnout. Burnout that college students feel, burnout that even grown-ups feel. I hope to inspire them to get some help and reach out when things are overwhelming. They are not alone. There's always someone out there that cares for you.
Lady Pink's career started when she was 15. She was the only female capable of competing with the boys in the graffiti subculture.
We would go climbing walls and going through some crazy missions just to get into a train yard. Then you've got to paint your thing in the darkness very quietly. You hear rustling noises and you hope it's not the police and hope it's only some rats that are scurrying at your feet.
Her art made a statement, giving voice to a view of New York from a woman's perspective. It made her art into a beacon of hope and a source of pride.
Graffiti art was born in New York City, invented by teenagers when the city was in a dark, dark place. And then there came this energy, this creativity out of nothingness, because it's in all of us to create.
Graffiti really refers to the stylized lettering, wild style. It also happens to be the title of the first motion picture on the hip-hop culture. Lady Pink had a starring role.
We're trying to do a lot for the community now. Trying to liven up a few things, make it a job. We're gonna try to make it a living, I guess.
One of my favorite scenes is you are 16 years old and you are saying, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to make a living doing this.
I didn't say that in that movie. Really, did I? Okay, so it's true. I'm doing this for the rest of my life. 43 years I've been going strong.
She had her first solo gallery show at the age of 21. Her work has since been shown in the Whitney Museum and the Met Museum of Art, and sold in the high-end art world at Sotheby's. Lady Pink is the prime example of how art can change minds, because she helped transform how we looked at graffiti art and all street artists.
What was it like to see your train go by?
To see our subway trains ride by for anybody was you turn into a 5-year-old kid, you're jumping up and down. I did it, I succeeded in the middle of the night under such stressful conditions. It's an amazing feeling watching your train roll by. Street art is done by everyone for everyone. It is up and down the streets. Like you yourself said, you lived with the murals that I've been painting here for decades in Astoria. And that is my whole purpose of being. Lift up spirits, beautify communities, become part of your life in that I have beautified your neighborhood.
Sure beats a blank wall. All right, coming up, how long have you and your best friend known each other? I mean, seriously. We're going to introduce you to a 98-year-old and a 97-year-old who've been friends for 75 years. We're going to introduce you now to two inspiring best friends whose connection dates back 75 years, 3/4 of a century. Here's CBS Chicago's Brad Edwards.
I came to see you guys.
You did.
I just want to check to see if we can still walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Len Massinio.
My name is Maury Bischoff.
And I'm 97 years old, going on 98.
I'm 97, just 97.
I treat him like a child.
How long have you guys been friends?
About 75 years.
Would you say best friends?
Yeah, I think so.
Their friendship really began before they even knew each other, but both at war.
What did you do in World War II?
Well, I actually volunteered.
It was all over the place.
Wound up in Europe in the infantry division.
It was in Germany and in Bavaria. And
I was a rifleman. We were in during the Battle of the Bulge. I hated guard duty.
You may laugh about it now, but when you're 18, alone, on watch, Nazis gunning for your head, then Len.
I have to tell you this. Yeah, I was in southern Germany with my armored division. My birthday was on the 30th of April. Hitler committed suicide on the same day. I celebrate every April 30th for Hitler's demise.
And here we are at the Liberty in Libertyville.
Right.
They began upon returning to Chicago, aspiring engineers.
On the GI Bill of Rights. That would have been 1945 or 1946.
1946.
And have been finishing each other's sentences ever since.
Studying the same subjects.
We were living in the same neighborhood.
And a block apart.
I probably had you doing my homework. So that's how we got
I
along.
did more homework than he did.
Both married, both had kids, and then both worked together.
After the 20 years, we bought a distressed company.
How many people did you employ?
Maybe
well
close
over
to
150
200.
at one time.
Yeah.
What was the name of the engineering firm?
That was we called it, I think, American. What was it? Acme
All American Products. No,
was
that was later.
No, that was first.
Who cares? But get this.
Remember the old Schwinn bikes? They had these big banana seats.
Like the banana seats.
That's what they call them. That's what we made.
Let's say we got along unusually well.
And they kinda couldn't be more different.
Yeah, I'm Catholic. Maury's Jewish. I'm a Republican, more or less, and he's a Democrat.
How in the hell has this lasted 75 years?
We argue well.
They argue well and discuss.
And the things we talk about are things that maybe others don't talk about. Why is this glass made this way with the bottom like this?
Engineers forever. They're curious. I mean, I was curious.
What do you think of the state of the world?
I think it's in bad shape. I think that we could be heading for some horrible apocalypse.
All right, hold on. Sorry.
Manny to the rescue.
There's Manny. There's the best waiter in the whole world.
Maybe not apocalyptic, but both agree the tenor of the times doesn't make for breaking bread. As for secrets to nearing centenarianism,
Well, you guys want some breakfast?
I will have a scrambled egg and crisp bacon.
Crisp bacon, no fruit.
Yeah.
Check, check.
That's
Want
one.
to try some fruit?
No.
Fruit or vegetables? Not today?
No, I don't want any of that
Okay.
stuff. No. And
Excuse me, does anyone want a half a bagel?
And their sharing
Would you like a half bagel?
shows no end.
How much longer are you going to do Tuesday breakfasts?
As long as I'm around. As long as he's around.
On Tuesdays with Maury.
Thanks a million.
Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you.
And Len.
Thank you,
It's an
Brad.
absolute
It was
pleasure.
really the same here.
Love a good male friendship story. 75 years. That is a long time. This was a short time together, but that is our show. I hope it brightened your day. I hope it lifted you up. I'm confident it did. If for some reason it didn't, go ahead and press play again. Totally free. I'm going to go find some good news.